Hello, my viewers, and welcome back to another video. So yeah, to be honest with you, the Nut Nation thing is a no-go for me. I don't think that's really the direction I want the channel to go in. So yeah, that's that. Hopefully you guys understand. So today I want to talk about some style facts that you might not know. What the hell, chair? What the...
What the hell? Huh?
Okay, strange clothing aside, where am I? And how do I get back? It looks like I'm on a beach somewhere. Now if I were to...
Hi! Hello there!
What is that? What the hell is that? Oh my god, what the hell is that?
What? What are you? Hi, Nutty. I'm Big Nuts. Welcome to Nut Nation. What are you talking about? The Nut Nation isn't real. Yes, it is. We're on a totally abandoned island, and there's definitely no building behind. Haha! Hey, put me down! What is this? Made in Nut Nation? What are you talking about? That's just something some dum-dum wrote behind you. That
No,
proves
you're wrong.
nothing. Down.
Ouch! Hey, that hurts!
And stay down. Hey, what are you doing to our
Help
friend?
me, Angry Big Nut!
What? Huh? Who are you? Step in line. Believe it or not, you're in Nut Nation territory now. Yeah, or else. Wait, who was that? Huh? Oh, God. No, no.
Hey, so I've escaped the sun, got a nice bottle of water, and conveniently, help! There's just a bunch of big nuts around here so we can snack on nuts. And I'm gonna continue what I was gonna do today, you know? Even though the location changes, we stick to our goals. We do not deviate. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm definitely not being forced to say this. So today I'll answer all your questions that I've gathered in all of the videos I made thus far. There are a lot of recurring, frequently asked questions of sorts, and I'd like to address them and hopefully fill in the gaps between all my other videos. So if you've watched my other videos, this video will be the filler to bridge the gaps and hopefully complete all my thoughts on every topic in my channel. I'll probably still miss some, and if I do miss some at the end of this video, do let me know in the comments below. Okay, with that said, the first thing I want to talk about isn't really a question that I'm answering. It's more of a addition to the topics I've talked about before. It is to do with survivability over damage for supports. So this is actually something that's very interesting and something quite important, I would say. And maybe not everybody knows about this. So if you look at characters like Pella, Silverwolf, even Ting Yun, literally any Harmony or Nihility unit that's supposed to support your other characters in the forms of debuffing enemies or buffing the characters on your team, they also do damage on their own. Like when Pella's ult reduces the defense of enemies, she also does damage to them. Same with Ting Yun having a talent that increases her basic attack damage, and Silverwolf, literally every character, when they do any action, they will do damage, right? And with that said, a lot of people are tempted to build them for damage. I myself am one of them. And I'd like to say that usually this is not as good of a choice. If you're a lower investment account, maybe you're struggling to clear content and stuff like that. I'll say that there's exceptions, of course, being that if you're already comfortably clearing content and you're not worried about dying as much, it's fine. And the second exception is if you just want to build them for damage, don't let any YouTuber tell you what to do. Like I've said in previous videos, build who you want and play how you want. This is more for more optimal gameplay. Because at the end of the day, right, the purpose of having these supports on your team are essentially to increase the damage of your carries on your team. Yes, they can do some damage on top of that, but usually it's super negligible. If you run the team calculations, their personal damage is significantly smaller than your main carry's damage, and that's normal and that's fine. Because they are the reason your carries even do that much damage to begin with. However, what becomes a problem is if those characters die. Not only will your main carries do significantly less damage, whatever damage you built on those support characters go away as well. At this point, I think it's important for me to explain what is building damage and building tanky stats, survivability. That's essentially the main stats of your characters. So for some characters like Silverwolf and Pella, they have to run effect hit rate chess pieces to hit their thresholds to guarantee their debuffs, and that's fine, that's a given. I wouldn't say that is an offensive or a defensive stat, that's just a necessary main stat to have. However, if you are playing characters like Asta or even Yukong with her insanely high multipliers, on most teams, you would rather just have them on a defense chess piece, for example, a defense orb instead of a fire damage or imaginary damage bonus one. And usually they want energy regeneration ropes. So it's usually just the chess and the orb, because the boots as well, you usually run speed on them. Unless you go for some wacky build like a slow runway, which isn't wacky, it's just a unconventional. Usually you just run speed boots on all supports, but runway is like an exception of that anyway. Damn, people are having fun in the Nut Nation. Can you hear that? It's important to keep them alive, and running these tanky stats are something very beneficial. This advice is mainly for lower level players. A newer player might look at Asta and see, wow, she has pretty high multipliers on her E, and her skill like goes off so many times. So maybe that's really, really good to level and to use for damage. I'm saying that because that's exactly what I did. And yes, it could be beneficial early game. However, the levels of your main carry is more important for one, and the whole thing with like characters surviving just takes priority as well. And even when you go into the end game, when you're trying to do like zero cycle clears, I know this doesn't apply to everyone, like you don't have to do zero cycles, but having your Pella and Silverwolf be on tanky stats, for example, on an Acheron zero cycle team, just makes that zero cycle much more consistent and nice to play, rather than it being relying more on RNG, because your Pella and Silverwolf can then get one shot and the whole run ends. So it's just stuff like that. Their damage isn't even important in those teams because Acheron just does so much, for example. But if you have E6 Silverwolf and stuff like that, then that's another story. But you know, this is for like the beginners or like just a common person with not much Eidolons and stuff like that. Everyone's account is different. This is especially important for people who are running an abundance unit as well. For example, Bailu, Luocha, Natasha, Lynx, right? Because abundance keeps your characters topped off, but they don't give you extra health essentially. They don't give you a shield on top of your health. So you're very susceptible to one shot. So if your characters have low HP, low defense, they can just get one shot. But for example, if you have characters like Fu Xuan or upcoming Aventurine, then it's easier to build more damage, and maybe you can squeeze out a bit more damage from your supports as well, although once again it's negligible, but that can be done. Although I would say that even when I run Fu Xuan and Silverwolf together, and I really tried to play DPS Silverwolf, E0 S0, but she had really good relics. My Silverwolf would still die in some extended fights as well, because yes, Fu Xuan soaks up damage, but Silverwolf still takes a lot, especially in harder content. So now even when I'm playing Silverwolf and Fu Xuan together, I put Silverwolf on a very tanky build. The other benefit of making your characters tanky, like having more defense, is that they just take less damage. And when they take less damage, they just need to be healed less. So think about your Huohuos, your Natashas, your Lynxes, you have to skill less, right? Or you can be fine with having healing with just your ult. So it's good for your skill points as well, and that is skill points that can go into your carry, so your carry can do more damage. And even prevent scenarios where you have to use your skill point to stay alive, and when your carry's turn comes, which is maybe the next turn, they have no skill points to do their skill, and so it's a massive DPS loss if you think about it that way. So that's that. I just wanted to mention that. Jamie did a really good video kind of bringing it to my attention earlier on, and I thought I wanted to do that for you guys as well, just mention it. So I actually received quite a few comments as well, more than I thought that I would, about, oh, what's the best set to run on this character? What's the best set to run on that character? And even one that was like, yo, can you just make a video talking about what's the best set for every single character, please? And the reason I didn't think I would receive that many comments like that is because it's literally easier to go onto YouTube and type best relics Jing Liu than to type out a long comment saying, yeah, can you please tell me every set on every character, or like, can you tell me what the best set is for Jing Liu in my comments, and waiting for me to reply if I reply. By the way, I do read all your comments, and you have some pretty nice, funny, amazing ones, so thank you. I think I kind of mentioned this in my relic video already, but there's the recommended set feature for both planet ornaments and cavern relics in game itself. So if you really want to put in the minimal effort, you can just click that and you will understand like what people mostly run on that specific character. And yes, I know that, it's not completely correct and accurate and the most optimal, but I think if you're the person that wants to make the most optimal, squeeze out every percentage of damage from your character, I believe that going to a website or searching up a YouTube video and maybe or two and cross-referencing wouldn't be that hard of a thing for you to do. It's just more of like an easy thing. There's recommended sets in game. I think what I'd like to take the opportunity to do actually is to bring to attention the rainbow set thing. So that's not really nice way to word it. That sounds weird, rainbow set thing, but it's basically you like relic sets don't matter that much, honestly. It's like for most optimal play, but most optimal play is not required to beat the game. Sure, you can beat the game faster, easier with more optimal play, but it is by no means necessary. I'm streaming a lot more now, so I know I've been doing account reviews as well, and I've been talking to much more Honkai Star Rail players, and there's so many people who play this game without really considering relic sets. People who clear the hardest content without using the best relic sets or even relic sets at all. Rainbow as in you don't complete a specific set, you don't have a 4-piece effect, you don't have a 2-piece effect, you just use relics from different sets, you don't have the effect at all, you just have the correct main stats and substats. Sometimes people even don't equip relics fully and they can still clear certain game modes because the blessings are just that OP, for example, right? So at the end of the day, this is to answer the questions of people asking if main stats or relic set effects are more important, especially at low AR. I just received a comment that said they're below AR 60 or they're just AR 60 and they're wondering if they should go for main stats or relic sets. I would say that it's much easier to go for main stats. You can go for relic sets, you can spend all your power doing that. I'm not saying you can't. That's how I used to play as well. I didn't farm traces at low AR, Trailblaze level. I gambled because I'm a gambling addict, and you can too. But it's just significantly easier, speaking from experience, to get correct main stats than to force a relic set for the slight benefit in that. Because if you think about it this way, it's much easier to use rainbow relic pieces with the correct main stats because they'll just, most of the time, have better substats. You have more to choose from. You can just choose the piece regardless of stat with the best substats. So it usually makes up for it as well. The only thing is that once you get to higher Trailblaze level, there is a ceiling with how good your substats can be before you have to spend a lot of power just to get incremental increases. So at that point, maybe getting 4-piece sets are easier than going full rainbow and trying to maximize your damage there. I think a good alternative to going full rainbow as well, I'm not saying one is better or the other, but a lot of people also just farm generalist domains. So a lot of people farm the Longevous domain with the hackerspace because a lot of supports like the hackerspace set, and the Longevous 4-piece can be used on a decent amount of characters. For example, just for the crit. For example, I use it on my Clara. Or a better example might be the Prisoner set, the DOT set with the follow-up set in the same domain. The Prisoner set's 2-piece is just increased to attack, And so that's pretty nice for a 2-piece. And Musketeer, you just farm it from killing the weekly bosses. That's a 2-piece that gives attack as well. And most, damage dealers scale off attack, so that's a nice two-piece to have. Not the most optimal 4-piece by any means. However, that's something that you can consider as well. So you don't have to, bust your brains trying to get a perfect 4-piece set for your characters. A lot of people talk about the 4-piece quantum set being an amazing generalist set as well. However, if the enemies aren't really weak to quantum, you just get the 10% defense ignore. And I mean, that's nice. That's just a really nice bonus, but it's probably not as strong as you think. It really shines though. It's kind of busted when you have enemies that are weak to quantum and you bring that set in. So it's somewhat still conditional, but it's overall really nice set to farm for your damage dealers as well. And the 4-piece God of Watering Snow is kind of nice for supports, especially to make them tankier, which ties into what I talked about earlier. The new Pioneer of Dead Water set is also really good as a generalist set now. It just gives a bunch of crit value, and you just need to meet the conditions, which is arguably easier to meet than the against quantum weak conditions, because this is what you can control by applying debuffs and stuff. You don't have to rely on the enemies being quantum weak, for example, for the Genius set. So that's one set you can consider farming for your generalist use as well. If you're a newer player, it's also going to help you with crit rate and crit damage, which is generally something you lack a lot of in the early game. So yeah, I think that's pretty good. Okay, now I want to talk real quick about power creep. So I've seen some comments people are having fun in the Nut Nation. Okay, so I received some comments about power creep. Some of them are directly talking about it, and some just mention it in passing. But a lot of things to do with power creep, and I would like to talk a bit about it today. Although I'll most probably dedicate an entire whole video to that in the future, because I think there's actually a lot to yap on about that topic, and I think it's just a cool discussion to have. But that's for another day. Today I'd like to just give my bare bones thoughts on it. I received a comment saying something like, "Man, I love Jing Liu, but it's so sad to play her and realize that in 1 year she'll be worthless and she'll be power crept, and all these relics and everything that I farmed for her will be washed down the drain." I mean, at least that's the impression I got from that comment. I'm paraphrasing, I don't have it up right now. But it was something along those lines, and I thought to myself, man, that is quite unfortunate that you see it that way. Are they releasing stronger characters? Let's just start there. Are they releasing stronger characters as the game goes on? Yes. Yes. It makes sense, because this is a game that is mostly centered around combat. Like in Genshin Impact, for example, there is exploration, there is you can do a bunch of other stuff with your characters besides combat, but the main way to interact with your characters in this game is running around with them in the open world. That's why techniques are actually pretty highly valued as well in this game. And then also obviously the turn-based combat. That's a two ways to interact with your characters in Honkai Star Rail. So obviously having stronger characters that directly impact the way that they're played in the turn-based combat system and just the feel of them definitely makes sense. That's just the nature of things in life, I guess, and entertainment especially. Like once something is done, what us as consumers want is something more than that. We want to up the stakes every time, and so and so. And I know that can be distasteful to some people, or that could seem like weird or whatnot, because I mean, for example, in movies there are scenarios where the stakes keep getting upped and upped and upped until it's like, oh, like the first movie was good because it's about an intimate family and someone's getting kidnapped, for example, and then you save them and it's like very happy. And then the next movie, now you have to save the world, and it's like, okay, that's like kind of still relatable-ish, and that's cool, and that's like higher stakes, and that's nice, that's fine. And then the next movie is like, oh, but now we have to save the universe, and it's like, okay, it's starting to get a bit unrelatable. I don't really relate to how to save the universe. I don't know how that experience feels, like how the expectations and the weight of that feels, and then And then next movie is like how to save the multiverse, and then like all the different realities, and it's like at this point you've lost me. I know it's not like exact parallels, but like it feels like Powercreep can, you know, go to a point where things just don't feel like the same anymore. It kind of like trivialized the other stuff. Like let's say 5 years down the line, they release a incredible new DPS that's literally double the damage of Jingliu, makes Jingliu feel like worthless, right? I understand that, and that's the second reason as well. It trivializes what we have done in the past and what we're doing right now, because in the future, right now will be the past. I understand that, but I think of it as like buying a movie ticket, ignoring inflation and all that, okay, when we talk about this topic. You can say movies have also been power crept in terms of technology, right? With like insane CGI, the budgets, and what they can do now, like in terms of technology, I'm not talking about artistry, I'm not debating whether movies now or back then were better. You could say that if you bought a movie ticket 30 years ago, like you actually got scammed compared to if you were to buy a movie ticket today. Okay, I don't think maybe that's the best example. Let's use the example of a car. If you bought a car 30 years ago, what's the value of that car now, right? Cars notoriously just lose value. Like buying a car is like investing in something that's losing money the more you use it, basically, right? I think of gacha games as the same thing. It is experience. Like it's not permanent. It's not like buying a real estate or property, and even then that loses value. I think the idea of like permanence in general. I know this is getting into philosophy territory, and you guys joke about me being a philosophy professor, but like I mean I think this is important. I think this is important. Okay. Um, I think like chasing permanence is, yeah, it's always like a futile attempt. And even when the illusion of permanence is created, at the end of the day, it's just an illusion, right? Nothing's ever permanent. We're all gonna die. Okay, that escalated quickly. What I'm trying to say is, for the movie, for the car, what you're buying is the experience, the entertainment. You're buying the convenience of owning a car. You're buying the joy. What's important is how it makes you feel, not the value of it. Like I won't come off a movie, after 3 hours and be like, oh, I got scammed. If it was a good movie, it was a good movie. I'm happy, because you go in knowing that this is a temporary experience. So just try to enjoy it to the fullest. Tomorrow's never certain. We can complain all we want, but at the end of the day, the reason characters are being power crap is because us consumers want it. We want something bigger, better, shinier. That's just human nature. Trust me, if we all wanted all the characters' power level to stay the same, exact same, and all characters are just alternatives, and there's nothing better. 4 stars and 5 stars are the same. Limited banner and non-limited banner are the same. I know Bronya and Sparkle's the same. They would do it, but it's ultimately what we're paying for, and that's why they do it. Right now, this game can still be cleared by Arlen. Can be cleared. I don't hate Arlen. Okay, this is not Arlen slander. I see you guys in the comments saying that I'm Arlen slandering. No, I'm just saying other people are. I'm not. I'm just saying for the people who slander Arlen, there is still proof that Arlen can still clear really fast. At the end of the day, yeah, it's like buying a car. The value will go down, sure. But don't let it stop you from enjoying your car right now. Finally, I want to quickly talk about vertical versus horizontal investment, because I talk about it a lot in my videos, and I'll dedicate a whole video to that, probably because there's so much to talk about. I will talk you through how you notice when it's time to maybe switch from vertical investing to horizontal, or horizontal to vertical. Usually it's horizontal to vertical. And what I mean by horizontal and vertical investment, in case you're not aware, horizontal is like building a lot of characters, whereas vertical is building a select few but focusing a lot on them. They have their pros and cons, obviously. Vertical, you have more power to allocate to a few characters, so they're built really well. And horizontal, you have more flexibility. You can face more diverse content. You are less likely to not have a team for pure fiction, for example. And when those events come, there are combat events and need you to have a dot team, a follow-up team, and a hyper carry team. You will have your bases covered. So it really depends what you like playing. But I think after doing a lot of account reviews on my stream, I realized that a lot of people do horizontal investment because it's just more fun to get a new character. rather than get Eidolons, which is literally just a small upgrade to one character. And for the price of that, you can get a whole new character, right? So a lot of people do that, and a lot of the questions I get from those people is how do I more comfortably clear Memory of Chaos and MOC? Because maybe they, first of all, can't even clear it, or secondly, can clear it, but it's barely. They want to have more comfort in that. I think for those people, and if you're one of them, the thing to do is to start vertical investing a bit, because unfortunately, yes, the characters in this game will incrementally maybe get stronger and stronger. Once again, it's not even confirmed that that's going to be the case, but the game itself is definitely getting harder. Like the MOC bosses HP is going up, the damage they do is going up, and so on. So that's one reason why I'm leaning towards the fact that characters are getting stronger and stronger and will keep getting stronger. So no matter how much characters you pull, if they are just okay invested in, you will still be able to clear the content if you team build well and stuff like that. But you won't necessarily be able to clear them with ease and go for low cycle clears. The thing that will help you do that is to maybe pull a signature or to get really good relics on them, above average ones, and build their supports and pull their best supports as well. And that's almost considered vertical investing as well. I would argue that pulling a Ho-Ho for your Kafka team, just for your Kafka team, is a form of vertical investment, although you're technically horizontally investing as well. But Ho-Ho doesn't really require that much resources herself, so it's mostly just for her buffs on your Kafka team. Yeah, I would say that if you are someone who's at a point where you're trying to clear these endgame game modes more consistently, try vertical investing. Look at what your best characters are, what teams you want to play to clear these game modes are, and what you would like to play in the long run as well. If you're really a big Kafka enjoyer, you can consider going for some of her Eidolons, her signatures. I think her E1 is really strong. For example, Black Swan's Eidolons are pretty strong too. I'm not saying you have to pull them, of course, but if you have them, that's a team that, you know, even with the power creep, if every time that we run, you pull one Eidolon, you pull one Eidolon, you pull one Eidolon, you can keep up until the end of the game, you know, like, and still clear content and probably do it really, really, really fast, faster than someone who just has a E0 S1 maybe of the newest, shiniest, hottest character that releases like 5 years down the line, even with all the power creep and stuff going on. So, and that's what I wanted to say on that. And finally, I'd like to say that I will really want to answer all your questions, literally, like I promise, but it is almost impossible because everyone's account is unique. Everyone's account is unique. Once again, this is why I make these videos this way. So I give you my thought process, which hopefully will equip you with the information and, you know, kind of approach the game that will benefit you in solving the problems of your account on your own. Not to say that there are problems, right? But if you want to achieve a goal and you can't achieve it, then there are problems holding you back from that goal. Because if you ask me a question like, I have E2 S1 Acheron, I don't have it pulled up right now, but I think the question I got asked, I don't have a bunch of 5 stars, I only have Goinaifen and Asta. Like, which one should I use in my E2 Runmei team? And I thought about it. In that case, probably Asta, because she gives your Acheron speed and attack, which Acheron really likes. And Guinevere gives a bit of damage increase on the enemy. However, that's not something that benefits Acheron as much as the copious amounts of attack and speed that Asta provides. But that also depends on your like Asta Eidolons, right? Can you upkeep your skill buff? That depends on your Guinevere's Eidolons and her debuffing potency. That depends on if you have enough skill points even to spam Asta's skill every time to keep up. It depends on what light code you're running on your individual supports. It depends on what light code you're running on Acheron, her relics, her stats. All these questions, right? And I do feel the need to ask for the specific info because I don't want to give you a wrong answer. All of these factors need to be taken into account before giving a suggestion. So it's really hard for one person to do it all. So the best way since your account is constantly evolving as well, right, is to do it yourself. Because at the end of the day, there are so many things to consider. How does the team work? How's your rotation looking like? What are you trying to clear? What content are you trying to clear? Is there a cycle limit, for example? Do you need speed because of that? Are your characters struggling on surviving? Is characters dying? How much survivability do you need? Do you need to run a survivability character? So and so, right? Like there's so many different variables, so many different things, even down to if you're fighting Memory of Chaos, which Memory of Chaos? This one, the previous one? Because each one has a different like buff that affects in some way things, right? And it all adds up. So that's all I wanted to say regarding that. I don't like calling people out. I'm not going to call anyone out, but I just want to say that when you see YouTube thumbnails or when you hear about YouTubers talk about how this character is good and you should use this character in this team, be sure to catch and listen to in what context are they talking about, right? In what context are they playing their teams? What are the levels? Against what enemy specifically? For example, you see Akron do like 600,000 damage at E0, S0, and that's amazing. But then you realize it's against like Yanqing and like his 4 swords, which is like against 5 enemies, and you're way overkilling those 4 swords. So effectively, you're doing just a small amount of damage to Yanqing alone out of that like 600,000. It's stuff like that, right? And when you ask questions, the more specific you are, the better. So when someone does give you an answer, it's the best possible answer. And that's why I don't generally like tier lists as well, because it's so general. I might make a video on this, but yeah, it's so general. You're starting to see what I'm trying to say, right? Like the more I talk in these videos. So yeah, I'm gonna stop there. My phone is running out of storage. I should have bought a higher storage model. You can't upgrade the storage after you bought it. Didn't know I was gonna become a yapper. So, but it's all good since my phone got power creeped as well. Maybe I'll get the power creep version of my phone. Who knows? Anyway, that's all. I'm gonna try to find my way out of this now. Yeah. I think it's time we go. Where even am I? Catch you later. Bye bye. Oh my god, what are they doing here? Hi, yeah, it's us. Sorry about earlier. I guess we didn't introduce ourselves. We're Angry Big Nut and Angry Buff Big Nut. We don't really care that you smacked Happy Big Nut and took them away. Just take the sword from under the tree and just welcome the people to the Nut Nation. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Honestly, I don't even know where I'm going with this video at this point. The lore is just stacking on top of each other. It's crazy. I don't know what's going on. The whole idea here was to initiate you guys into the Nut Nation one by one with the sword, and I had this whole thing planned. But I don't know. I think that's enough stuff for one day. I just want to take this opportunity to actually just say wholeheartedly thank you from the bottom of my heart. I didn't expect all the support. Thank you so much. So as I'm recording this, we have 6.58 thousand subscribers, which is, wow, just really thank you for all the support. Yes, it's not a nice round number, but I believe that we don't need specific round numbers to celebrate. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much. And I hope to continue providing good content for you guys. Currently, I'm also streaming quite regularly on Twitch, so if you just want to see me mess around in Star Rail, feel free to join us over there. And that's it. I want to individually say, if you made it this far in the video, I appreciate you. Have a good one. Take care. Much love. Bye bye. For real this time.